My name is Tony Bishop. I'm the business doctor. I have a company, The Business Doctor LLC. And if you just put .com behind it, you can find our website. I have been in corporate America most of my life. I started my jaunt in business. Boy, that's a long time ago. We won't say what year, but I started on Wall Street at a venture capital house that had 7 different companies under it. I began the wave of the burger franchises, the Wendy's, the McDonald's, and then there were some others that aren't around. I was heavily involved in being a research associate for those folks, and then I became a project director. And this is how I got dissuaded from being an attorney and became a consultant, okay, and apparently never to return, because I don't think I'm going to law school now. So I worked with companies like Uniworld Group, if you've ever heard of them. They were the largest minority advertising firm in the world at that time. F.W. Eversley, Essence Magazine, Black Enterprise Magazine, Alvin Ailey Dance Troupe, where you see, I think they call Judith Jamison dancers now, and where I had the opportunity to help Geraldo Rivera start his company back then. And that was my first $100 dinner, okay? Along the way, I worked for Price Waterhouse, which is the largest accounting and management consulting firm in the world. I was a director of client services there, and I was in charge of business development throughout the nation, as well as a project director and also a consultant, a retail consultant, I might add. And from there, I went to George S. May International, which specializes in small and medium-sized businesses in improving them. So, and I spent 16 years doing that and traveling the nation. So today, I want to give you a little view of a decision-making model that I have come across from Brandon Burchard. Anybody know who he is? Brandon Burchard, I know it's a Canadian name, it's kind of hard for me, is the new mogul of nonprofit organizations. He had a near-death experience about 2.5 years ago. In the last 18 months, he has touched over 30 million people. He never runs a seminar that doesn't produce $500,000. In this 30 million people, he is hooked up with the Boys and the Girls Clubs, or the Girls Club of America, the Girl Scouts, Junior Achievement, and some of the Disney organizations, and that's how he's been able to touch so many people. So he is actually hooking on to the tail of a tiger, if you will. And I got a chance to see him again when I went to see Tony Robbins here recently, and Tony Robbins segmented time out for him at the end of the Unleash the Power. Okay? So my point to you is, when we talked about this, I have tweaked it, and I found it to be a very valuable concept. So it's a formula. That's all it is. But it's something to help you make decisions. So I'm going to ask you a question or two in the beginning. Raise your hand if you would like to expand your business 10 times what it is now. Keep your hands up. Now, how many of you can work 10 times harder? How many of you can work 10 times more hours? Okay, and you know you don't have to look around, right? It's not going to happen, okay? The reason why we may not be going full tilt all the time, but the fact of the matter is that we're usually working somewhere between that 75 and 95% range. Average productivity is about 87% in most structured companies, okay? So if it's not a structured company, then they probably have not benchmarked how fast we can go and where we really should be pacing. So today, what we're going to do is take a look at a formula that will give you some decision criteria. Because many times what holds us up in business is the fact that we have a lot of information, but we're not pulling it together succinctly. We don't get it capsulized. And so we got all this stuff. And one of my friends said the other day, who has lost a lot of money in the stock market, we said, we're going to invite you to come to an investment program with our broker. It's not a commercial for him, but made 100% for my friend last year and made 20% for everybody else. So in today's market, that's good. He said, well, I'm probably going to get so much information, I'm not going to be able to make a decision. And immediately, I knew that this was one of the issues in this guy's life. Okay, so we're going to do something to see if we can't make that easier for you today. And this formula may seem a little esoteric, but what you will find is your values will lead you through it. And it will also bring out your values and have you assess your values. So, I should be able to go through this now. We'll move into it. And I think, okay. Okay. Formula to evaluate business opportunities and yourself. What's the biggest sale we have to make in life? Okay. Do you believe that? Okay, because, you know, there's something that happens to us when we actually sell ourselves, that all of a sudden, all that law of attraction stuff, we don't really have to think about it. It just starts coming at you when we make decisions, but if we don't convince ourselves, and usually convincing ourselves has a lot to do with convincing other people and us seeing that we convinced other people. Does that make sense? Okay. So if we don't feel we do a good job at that, then it doesn't necessarily happen for us, because the reflection of other people is what helps to build our self-image. Okay? So I don't know if you've heard it put that way, but it turns out to be true. So what we're going to do is take a look at some of your values, but you're going to do it. And you're kind of going to figure this out. The terms of the deal. If you don't like deal, say opportunity, whatever. The terms of the deal must be less than the ROI plus the FB plus the PD squared plus L. Okay. You're smiling because you know what they are. That's what it is. Okay. All right. Okay. Well, it's a very simple formula, but I can almost assure you that if you use it, it will help you structure your perspective in such a way that it will be very easy for you to weigh out pros and cons of any opportunity that you're looking at. Okay? So, terms. You can see I'm almost computer illiterate, but don't hold it against me. Defining the formula. T is for time. Okay? Really simple. But how much of our time is spent trying to master our time? Okay? What do we complain about all the time? Okay? And what's the one thing that everybody has an equal amount of? Time. Okay? And I'm sure you've heard the verbiage previously. The only difference between you and someone that is more successful is how effective they use their time. Now, of course, there's all those issues about what they do with their time. But nevertheless, time is something that we have to embrace as our friend. And a lot of information is coming out recently that when you don't like doing something like managing your time, you're not going to do a good job with it. Okay? It's boomeranging back to you. That's what it's really doing. You hate it. You don't like it. Well, guess what you get? Bad performance from yourself. And then who are we going to beat up? Doesn't matter who else you blame. Ultimately, you know subconsciously and probably consciously you're going to blame yourself. Well, if you're blaming yourself about something that you're doing in business, you got a problem, okay? You're like everybody else, okay? Everybody has experienced little kids, whether you had them yourself or they're related to you. The fact of the matter is that we encourage them to come along. Well, we all have some little children inside of us that we need to nurture, particularly when we go into business. Okay, you're not going to do everything right. And if we could just get to 51% of the time, we'd probably start winning. It's kind of like winning your karma if you're predestined to do that. But the fact of the matter is, your time is the only thing that you have that is equal. It's what you do with it. And we start out learning some type of system or structuring our time so that we can evaluate how we're using it and if we can do a better job of using it. Now, if you don't have that and you're going to be esoteric about it, unfortunately it's hit and miss. So you have to have a way to evaluate yourself and the time you use. Energy. Now, I could go off on a big tangent on this. I'm going to try not to. But if we take it from a very grounded focus, we have a limited amount of energy as we know ourselves. We got, whether we spend 2 hours a week on our business, 4, 8, 14, 12, whatever, or 20 hours. I know some people that work 20 hours a day, believe it or not. It doesn't work real well, but they think that they have to do that, and that's because of their mindset. But energy does determine our impact and our effect. This is the endurance slide, okay? It is not how fast we can go all the time, okay? We do have to get to the end of the race. Now, where the end of the race is your determination. But, you know, if we're bouncing off the walls all the time, it's going to be short-lived. Entrepreneurs need to take care of themselves. And I always tell them, you cannot get sick and you can't die. It is funny, but it's reality. Because if you want to build an empire, however large or small, you have to be able to transfer it to someone else while you get to do the things that you like to do and that need to be done and that you need to do, that nobody else can do. Business, in my estimation, is about downloading your good habits. Just like you raise children, you're trying to raise children with good habits. We are trying to raise the children in our business, assuming that we have some staff. If we don't, when we get some staff, we want to have them do some of the things that we don't want done according to our standard. So we're trying to download a standard to them. That's one of the most important things. And you may not be plugged into making money, but if you have a good quality standard that continues to highlight your passion in business, you have a good chance of making money. The problem is most people don't have those quality standards. And so the result is we got to teach them how to make the money, and then they understand why the standard goes with it. So we want to upgrade the standards, but we want to make sure that we are healthy. And there's enough information out there for you to learn how to be healthy. And there are a whole lot of things that we can do. And I won't go there because I used to run a health food store too. Okay? But you need to be healthy, you need to exercise, and we need to be efficient with our energy. And part of that has to do with our attitudes. You got a bad attitude, it's a company I love to come in. You know, because if you are the rump hole, I know that I have a project probably before the first day is over. It's just a question of when I let you know. Okay? But the fact of the matter is, when you have attitude issues because of energy and somebody having blocked energy and being frustrated, it doesn't work real well. So we don't go very far very fast. The resources that we have, biggest resource is what? The peoples. It's the peoples. Okay? What we teach them, how we utilize them in the business, how we utilize ourselves, how we connect with others, how we network with others, how we put information out there, how we communicate with them. If we do not make good results of our resources, we are not going to get what we want. I have a lot of Tony Bishop-isms. I don't call them that, but the fact of the matter is, if you don't like people, then what are you doing on earth? Okay? Bottom line is, you may as well acknowledge the fact that you have to work with people. Because if we want to isolate you and put you somewhere by yourself, how much are you going to get done? How much are you going to achieve? And we know that the human being is built to achieve. Heard of that reticular activating system? Okay. And yes? No? Yeah. Okay. That's that thing in your head that when you say, I want that car, all of a sudden, you start noticing that there's a whole lot of other people that have that car. Okay? Now you're plugged in and you're turned on and you are witnessing your heads coming together. Okay? So whatever it is, whatever kind of car it is, you start seeing 20 or 30 of them a day. Okay? I just need to see a Rolls. Okay? Something like that, a Bentley in Hawaii. But your reticular activating system, when you utilize it, plugs you into your resources. Something simple for me. Even though I've been speaking most of my life in front of business groups, this is a different kind of talk for me. So I said last month I wanted to do 4 speaking engagements this month. Well, lo and behold, I think I end up with 5. So just because I'm looking for it, and somebody called me yesterday, oh, I'm getting a TV interview. I thought that was really cool. You know, I said, it made my day. Plus a stockbroker called me. So the point of it is using your people. And yes, we hire people so that we can use their skills. Okay? And we have to utilize them. And I won't get into that whole management scenario, but if we're not utilizing the resources well, we are wasting them. And we do not want to do that because that is one of the biggest problems in small and medium-sized business is wasted productivity. Because either somebody didn't teach them right, somebody didn't supervise them right, or they don't have the right attitude. The money, the M is for the money, okay? Whether it's yours, whether it's your family's, whether it's your friends, whether it's the banks, whether it's venture capital, or whether it's customer deposits, we do have to manage money. And we have to manage what we have. The biggest mistake that people make is, I got to have this much to manage. Well, if you don't manage what you have, how are you going to get that much to manage? You're starting where you are, period. And I heard Anita around the corner. I wasn't in that session, but she was talking about how she had to make so much money in order to get to the next step. Make so much money to get to the next step. Well, that is the reality of it, but we need to have a better strategy for it. Okay? And we'll talk about that. But money is important. Whenever I hear somebody say, it's not about the money, what's it about? The money. It's about the money. I mean, and they're actually trying to make me believe their self-talk. It doesn't work, and it's not something that we need to listen to if you are in a marketing role in your business. As entrepreneurs, we need to make our products affordable, or at least let them get their toe in the water so they can experience the quality of the service or the product that we provide, so that if we don't market and get it done today, that they will be a candidate later. And anybody that you don't sell, you do want to sell them on the fact of giving you 3 referrals. Right? Rule of thumb. I'd rather not sell you if you give me the 3 referrals. And actually, Stacy, God bless her, is a good example. She's giving the referrals, and unfortunately doesn't have a whole lot to sell at the moment. But if she had product in place, we might not see her in this venue. Okay, she'd be talking to 400 or 500 people, at least, if not more. So the point of it is you do have to manage the money, but you also have to have something for them to buy. And lastly, the S stands for sanity. Okay, now this guy is happy. And these folks are happy, but you know as well as I do, there are days in small business, you don't want to see anybody else, you don't want to see your mate, you don't want to see your kids, and you don't want them to bother you. And, if you've been up for 20 hours, 2 days in a row, you don't even want to see yourself. So my point is, we do have to manage our stress. Okay? And there's all kinds of ways to do that, whether it's meditation, visualization, working out. You need to do something for yourself to manage your stress. Because the biggest deal that I find out with small business owners, they are so much of a one-man band or one-woman band that they're strung out, they're uptight, and a lot of times they can't think straight about what's the next step. We're just worn out. So there's only so much you can do in a day. Time is limited. It's 24 hours, and you don't get to work 20 of them and expect to come back the next day and fight again the same way. So you do have to take care of yourself for the long run, because business is a process, and how you roll it out is dependent upon you and your planning. So, terms. If we go back, terms, T-E-R-M-S, time, energy, resources, money, sanity. Now, it is a balance, and we are jugglers, okay? Those are the things that we have, and we could say they're unlimited, but in reality, they're limited with us, each one of them. So this is what we have in order to review and look at with ourselves. How much time are you willing to put in? How much energy do you have? And how much does the business get? How much does your family get? How much does your mate get? These are all important questions to ask ourselves, because they all lead to the quality of life. The resources, we can build these as we go, but we have to start where we are. Money, we have a limited amount, but we can get more. Money is never really the problem. It is a symptom of the problem. Everybody make sense? And sanity. If you're not calm about what you're going through, even though you're pulling your hair out, wear a wig, okay? But you need to be calm about it. Because the fact of the matter is, there are so many things that can happen to you, and one moment of mental indiscretion can cost your life. And I have seen this with clients, unfortunately. And I've seen it with their families in particular. So we want to be calm about it, because God willing and the creek don't rise, there will be a tomorrow. And if not, you may as well live the day well. So those are the terms of the deal. Okay? We got to keep our sanity. The other side of the equation, number one, we're small business owners. We measure it in money. The return on investment, it's money. Okay? And if anybody else counts it another way, I'd like to know. Okay? It's about the money. All right? How much do we have? How much are we going to get? Where are we going with it? And what will it look like next year, 3 years, 5 years, and at retirement, assuming that we're changing something? In today's world, people are working longer. And we're having much more healthier lives. So we're doing more of what we like to do longer. And I don't know if I'm going to work all my life, but I will dip and dabble in some consulting here and there, even if I do it for free, just because floats my boat to help people. So, and we do have to find something that floats our boat. Okay? Now, the other thing that floats my boat is actually being on the beach and watching the cha-ching on my phone. Okay? We would all like to make residual income, right? Okay? And that's not a dirty word. All right? We don't want to make that a dirty word. So return on investment in small business is cash. Future business, the FB. Okay? Where is this taking you? That translates into sales for us. Okay? Where are my sales going to go? 3, 6, 9, 12 months, 2 years, 5 years. We want to know where the sales are going to go and how many bodies besides your own do you need to throw at it. Have you created a system that you can begin to duplicate your best efforts so that now you have a sales machine? Because there is a difference between sales and marketing, right? But we have to market in order to get sales, okay? The point of it is we want to be able to count on future business because this whole scenario and what we're doing here today is all about predictability. We are trying to predict the future. Now, you heard Luis Parenza say this, right? You see those ads? Well, the other side of that coin is you're the one that has to create it. Okay? It starts with you. So we can predict the future. There's just a little question of time. How short or how long? So future business, we do need to forecast the sales. And we do need to have a hand in understanding and knowing how that works. PD squared, personal development. Some of us have, how many people have been in business here for 10 years? Okay. 15. 20. Okay. It is a journey, is it not? I mean, we might hit some goal lines as we go along and some mileposts, but it's a journey. The personal development that we engender along the way and capture makes us anew. Okay, the involvement with other people. Now, hopefully it's a good journey. Okay, and there's not too much stress along the way so that we're wearing a frown. Because you're not likely to be in business that long, or you'll be in business with people you really don't like being in business with. So the personal development, I can tell you a countless story. I mean, I've worked with 2,000 businesses. So I've got a little piece of each one of those clients with me. Something that they were doing that I liked. Might have been a whole lot of other stuff that I didn't like, okay? So, of course, we learn what not to do, but hopefully we're not focusing on that. But the important thing is that we are on a journey, and today we call it best practices, okay? Well, there's not only best practices in business, there's best practices in personal development. And those are the things that we want to find for ourselves. Okay, no matter what genre you subscribe to. Okay, there's lots of ways to get better in the marketplace. And they're very easy. You can look in the newspaper, there's lots of gurus today. That's for sure. So personal development is a big piece of it. You want your business to get better? Where does it start? Yourself. Okay, I walk in the door. I do a 2-hour conference with the owner. Bottom line, I'm looking at the problem. I don't care what the problems are in the business. My only issue is getting them to admit that that's where it is. Okay, because they're all your kids. Okay, they're all your kids. Now, if you're the only kid in the marketplace at that time or in your house, then fine. Whatever problems you have, you're responsible for. Whatever wins you have, you're responsible for. But if we don't take responsibility for where we are in life, then where are we going? 3 things we got to know: where we are, where we're going, and how we're going to get there. Professional development. Part of the journey. That's why we have PD squared. Personal development and professional development. That is not an addition. That's squaring really who you are. And this is a big deal. And when you're looking at a deal, you want to know what it's going to do for you personally and professionally. I don't know if you can see this, but these are actually dollar bills. The stair step to the top is paved with dollars. Okay? Because a lot of what we believe we are going to achieve in life has to do with net worth and money, so that we can buy our freedom. Okay? That's really what it's about, right? I mean, we want to become wealthy because we want to buy our freedom and do what the heck we want to do. Okay? We want to give away the money we want to give. Okay? We want to do the things for ourselves and our family that we want to do, and we want to enjoy ourselves. All because we are trying to develop that lifestyle. This is what we're really after. Whether you want to be a Tibetan monk, or you want to go to the Andes and meditate, you want to get one of the old Onassis yachts and travel around the world. I see them parked in Hilton Head, by the way. Okay? It excites me. But we're all looking for a lifestyle. That's what we're really looking for. Even if we want to get to heaven earlier or sooner than later, we still want to have the lifestyle before we get there. So the point of it is, this is what we're really building toward. Now, that's kind of your life and your business summed up in a formula. So what we have, anybody know what the Ben Franklin close is? No? Oh, okay. Couldn't get this lined up right on this screen, okay? But you have time, energy, resources, money. On this side of the equation, we have return on investment, future business, personal development, professional development, and lifestyle. If you would simply imagine that there was, the Liberty scale of justice? A Ben Franklin close is, what do they add up to? When you fill in the blanks for each one of these, for you, and when you fill in the blanks for each of your outcomes, your benefits, which one weighs the most? Now guess, that's right. It's the benefits, okay? I think it was Ivana. She said what people want. You know, if life and your dealings with other people in relationships, it is about what people want. It ain't about what they need. Because you may have something that you'd like to market to them that they need, but they could care less. You know, they want things, and they are driven by 5 or 6 significant things in their life. And we do all want to be significant. No matter how much money we want to be loved, we want to be significant, and we want to get what we want, okay? Whether we tell you or not. So when we're talking to people, we want to make it a point to address those things. But here is your scale of weight. Which way does it tilt? Now, obviously, the kind of subconscious and the esoteric part of this talk is what you want is going to determine the way this scale tilts. Okay? It doesn't matter what information you put in. If you really want it, you're going to tilt that scale with your attitude. However, when we think about these factors and tend to map them out, okay, and I do happen to be in agreement with Ivana. I did put my hand up when she said, who has a marketing plan? I have one. And I'm going to give you the same one that I have, okay? The reason why it's not filled in, you get to fill your own in. But it's it turns out to be a small piece of paper. So that it's not overwhelming, okay? But it will make you think, and it will make you think in terms of these things so that you have a tool that once you digest and decide what you want to put in your terms, then you can decide what you need to get out in your benefits that creates a balance of life for you. Balancing your life on the journey is the big deal. You know, what's that? The big losers? Well, the big deal in life for a business person is balancing life, because we have a lot of circles to balance. We have our families, we have ourselves, we have our sanity, we have our investments, our money, intergenerational wealth, the trust of the family, the reputation, lots of things to juggle. But we want to get them in perspective, and we want to capsulize them so that we can look at them in such a way that it's manageable. Okay? Doesn't matter how we do today, it matters what we manage and how we manage it and how manageable it is. So, with that, I have completed our little journey into the evaluation of any business deal and opportunity.